when a delegate's motion for closure of debate, it also requires 2 speakers against. If there is no any delegate against, then you may also raise technical against. Okay, so after the motion, you vote on the motion, and it requires 2/3 majority. This is really important because it's always 2/3 majority for any closure of debate. If it fails, then you will go back to general speakers list and keep discussing. However, if it passes, then the committee will be entering voting procedure. This is when the delegates would vote for the DR, whether you want DR 1 or 1.2 or 1.3. So once the committee enters the voting procedure, no delegates can enter or leave the room. You have to stay in the room. You cannot go to pee, you cannot go to have lunch or anything. You have to stay in the conference room. So voting procedure is where the DRs are voted upon. And the DRs will be voted by numerical orders, which is by 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And then how do you vote? You simply raise your placards, and the dais will count your vote. For example, if the chair say those delegates who wants to support DR 1.1, if you support it, then you raise your placard. Yeah, and then against, if you're against, then maybe Lincoln will raise his placard for against. Okay, so when does the voting procedure stop? It stops. It will continue until one DR passes, and only one DR can pass during the voting procedure. Or maybe there will be some situation when all DRs are voted but none passes, then there will be no DR for this conference. Unless there are 4 motions that can be raised during voting procedures. One motion is called division of questions. This is when one delegate wants to separate a clause into annex. However, this is quite complicated, so we will not talk about this now. And another motion is called reordering DR. Since the DRs will be voted in numerical orders, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, so and also only one resolution can be passed. So if you are voted first, then you have much possibility to be voted, right? Because if a 1.1 pass, then bye-bye to the rest. So this is really an important strategy you will use during the conference, because this can increase the possibility of your DR to pass. So after one delegate motion for reordering the DRs, then you vote on the motion. If it fails, then DR will be voted in original order, which is 1.1 before 1.2 before 1.3. However, if it passes, then chair will take all motions in which different orders are proposed. For example, China motion for the DR to be voted in 1.1 before 1.3 before 1.2, and then USA motions for the DRs to be voted in the order 1.2 before 1.1 before 1.3. So the chair will take all motions. So this is when all delegates can motion for different orders. And then after all the motions are taken, you will vote on the motions in the order in which they are raised. If China raised first, then you will vote on China's motion first, and then you will vote on other delegates' motion. And it requires simple majority for the motion to pass. If none of those motion passes, then the DR will be voted in the original order. However, if any of the motion passes, then DR will be voted upon according to the new order. For example, 1.1 before 1.3 before 1.2. Is that clear? Okay, I'll continue. So there are also one motion called roll call vote. Roll call vote is to know who voted what, because in the normal voting procedure, the chair will ask you to raise your placard. But however, you cannot really see clearly who voted for what. So roll call vote is when the chair will call out the country's name one by one, and then the country will answer yes or no after the chair calls on you. So the purpose of roll call vote is to follow other countries. For example, if one little African countries want to follow America because America gives them money every year. So the African country will wait for America and see what America votes, and and that country will follow America. That's why we want to use roll call vote. So the chair will call the countries in alphabetical order. So it's probably A, Australia first, Australia or Austria first, and then B for Brazil, C for China, and one by one. So in the first round, when the chair calls upon you, you have 4 choices. One is yes, that means you support the DR. And one is no, which means you're against the DR. And one is abstain. What is abstain? Abstain in Chinese is 弃权, which means you give up the right to vote. And one is pass. What is pass? Pass is if you call pass, which this means you want to wait until the next round to vote because you want to follow. You want to follow the country that is behind you, but you don't know what they are going to vote yet. So you will vote. You will call out pass. So after all the countries has voted in the first round, you will enter the second round. So those countries who call out pass has to vote in the second round, but you don't have to abstain this choice. You have to vote either yes or no in the second round. Okay, so the fourth motion is called vote by acclamation, which in Chinese is 共识决. So the chair will ask all the delegates, are there any objections? If there is no objections, no delegates say objection, then DR passes. You don't have to go through all the long process of voting. However, if there is any objection, then you will go back to the normal voting procedure. But this is vote by acclamation really saves time. Oh, I forgot to mention, although roll call vote is sometimes really useful during the conference. However, take myself for example, like when I went to Adjournment and one delegate motioned for roll call vote, and other delegates is like, oh, because roll call vote it will take probably 1 hour to finish the voting procedure. It's really long. So if you are not really interested in it, don't motion for roll call vote. Okay, and also there are 3 points only during the voting procedure, and these 3 points are the same as what can be raised during general speakers list. So I will not introduce it again. Okay, so after you have voted on all the DRs and you've decided what DRs you're going to keep, then it's time to motion for adjournment of meeting. It's the most exciting part of the meeting because you're going to end it. You can go back to sleep or go back to do whatever. Yeah, you can go party. So what is adjournment of meeting? It closes everything and it's only in order after voting. You cannot motion for adjournment of meeting before any DRs are voted upon. And so after motion for adjournment of meeting, and it also requires 2 speakers against. But basically, there will be no delegate against adjournment of meeting because everyone wants to go home, and nothing. You can do nothing after voting procedure. So basically, there will only be technical against for most of the time. So we will vote on the motion to adjourn the meeting, but who dares to vote no? So basically, it always passes. And after adjournment of meeting, congratulations, you've just finished your first month conference. Yay! Oh, P.S. There will be note passing and pagers. If you came to our orientation, you will see. If you have ever seen the film, you'll see Winnie and Alexis sending notes. So during one conference, if you wanna talk to other delegates, but you don't want to say it out loud publicly, then you can write a note specifying which country are you sending this note to and what do you want to say. For example, China want to discuss something with America, but he doesn't want to speak it out loud. So you can write the message on a note, and you just raise your note, and there will be pagers come here to assist you to send the note for you. Oh, and there will be one more demo.